Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sneaky, also known as Mom and All, and in this video we're all about thriving, especially in our personal finances. So if that is your type of thing, make sure that you click the subscribe button down below. In today's video guys, I'm going to be sharing my top 5 personal finance books. Before I go far, here's a disclaimer guys. So none of my videos constitute as personal financial advice. If you are looking for personal advice, make sure that you look for a personal financial advisor who is registered with the FSCA. These videos are purely for entertainment and educational purposes only. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 5 personal finance books that I've really enjoyed, and I'll let you know what I've enjoyed from each book and why maybe it would work for one person and maybe not for someone else. They are in no particular order that I'm mentioning them, but the first book is this one, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clausen. This book is one of my favorite personal finance books. I feel like if you read this book, you know almost everything there is to know about personal finances. It obviously was written in the 1920s, so it's an old book. See, this is fresh because I haven't read this. I've read the PDF, which is obviously everything that's inside here. And as soon as I finished it, I was like, no, this is one of those books that I have to add to my library because our home has a library now. So I was like, no, this is one of those books that I want even my kids to read. And I also want to revisit every now and again because it has all the principles. I feel like once you have this book, you know why to save, how to save, how to invest, why to invest, and it's written in principles. I enjoy reading or learning in principles rather than prescriptive writing, if I can call it that. So I learn a lot from stories. So what I like is that this book shares quite a lot of stories, so you can make up the lessons as you go along, as much as it is prescriptive, because the actual book is about someone telling people how he got rich or why he was the richest man in Babylon, but now he teaches them through stories. So I really enjoy that because I like to kind of learn the principles myself. If you tell me to save this every month, I can do it, but as soon as there's a life lesson through it and you tell me the backstory, then it's so much easier. So that's why I really like this book. It's got stories, so if you learn well from stories, not necessarily just from plain instruction, this is really your fighter. I enjoyed this. It's a very difficult read, that I must mention, because it's in the olden days. Like, what can I read here? The glory of Babylon endures. Like, it's an olden day kind of book. It's not your modern day language, so that can make it a bit of a difficult read. But if you enjoy English, I enjoy the English language. I've always enjoyed literature, even when I was still a student. So I love this book, but it can be a bit difficult. Another difficult read, but a personal favorite of mine, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This fighter. Guys, this book is amazeballs. Like, I was mind blown, literally, because this book, it doesn't tell you specifics of save money, invest, multiply your income streams, do this, live below your means. None of that. No, it's basically attacking your mind, or rather challenging your mind in terms of what do you think, how do you think, and why, and how can you better influence your thinking, how can you better change your thinking so that you can grow rich. And literally, it's mind-blowing for me. It's more, I feel like if you read this book, you go on a spiritual journey, because you have to kind of understand that things happen or come to pass because of what you say and what you think. So if you are one of those people who are just like, no man, it's either I was going to be rich or I was not going to be rich and this is my fate, then it's not going to be for you. But if you believe in creating your fate, in having faith and speaking life into your life, then this is your baby. This is a fighter. I really enjoyed this. Also, very, very difficult read. Like, the English is old school. It was, in which years was this? Originally published in 1937. Yeah, so that means it's definitely not your hey guys kind of language. It's difficult English, but I really enjoyed it. As I mentioned, this is one of those books that, like the Richest Man in Babylon, that I would like to go back on, because even throughout the book he says go back to chapters 2 and read this, do this. And there's quite a lot of things or tasks that you must do, like you must write down your goals, or not necessarily your goals, but your vision, and read it out, and you must do it over a series of days. So it's not just a book like a novel that you sit today and finish. No, it's a book that you need to engage with, and that you need to really process and go through a journey, like a spiritual journey, if I can call it that. Yeah, so this, I loved it. It was my December read, and yeah, my husband was like, he also wants to read it, and I was like, okay, I read it, but I'm also like, bring it back. I want to read all the parts that I highlighted, because or underlined rather, and because I was like, no, it feels like not a Bible, but it's one of those books that you feel like every now and again you want to open and check up on it. Another fighter of mine is What's Your Move by Nicolette. So this book is, what I really like about this book is that it's a South African book, obviously. So it's by Nicolette Mashile, who's a South African female that I absolutely love. So what I like about this book is that, like, at the end of the chapter, it always challenges you. So what's your move? What's your move? And I found this to be a very easy read. Nicolette is funny, man. Like, the stories she tells are funny, and it's also very beginner friendly. I consider myself fairly advanced when it comes to finances because of my profession as a chartered accountant, and also like practicing personal finances and a few investment courses that I've also done, and having worked in financial services industry. So for me, a lot of the things in this book are already new, but I really liked learning and seeing someone else's perspective. So if you are a beginner, then this is really a good book for you. But if you're very advanced and you more or less know what an ETF is, you know what these financial instruments are, then it might not be for you. But as I told you, I really enjoy stories, so that was the fun thing for me, learning her life lessons when she's telling stories about her family, her car, all these things. So this was really a fun read. So it's also quite light-hearted. It's not a difficult read like the other two that I've mentioned. So another book, before I come to the last one that I'll mention, the other book is From Debt to Riches by Phumelele Ndumo. She's actually a financial advisor, so it's really good to read her book, because she does all the maths as well. Well, she'll do life expectancy, how much you should be saving or investing now for your pension based on how long you're gonna live. So it's very technical as well. I don't have the physical copy, so my friend lent it to me. I read it and I had to give it back. That's why I don't have a physical copy. But it was really one of those, I think I read it when 2017 or 18, so it was really one of those personal finance books where I was like, wow. It was one of the first ones that I read. I was like, yo, this is interesting. Okay, there's this. So I would say that it's one of those books that actually challenged me to get started in taking my finances seriously, because it says from debt to riches. So it just shows you some of the things that are debt, sometimes that we don't even consider debt because we're so used to them being monthly payments. Before I go too far, if you've made it this far, please make sure that you click the subscribe button if it's not. Thank you. There was an example that was very controversial when I posted on my social media not so long ago, where she mentioned that if you could sacrifice maybe subscription television, I won't mention any brand, but if you could sacrifice subscription television, you find that you could over the years build up school fees or university fees for your child. When people are like, hi, but you need to like enjoy now or watch TV now, because how many of us grew up watching subscription television and having all these nice things, but once we finished matric, our parents were like, we don't have money for your schooling, not even registration or anything. So it really just taught me to, you know what, some of these things that we feel like are normal and we're entitled to, sometimes they are the things that chip away at our better future. So for me, it just taught me to make the sacrifice now so that I can live better tomorrow. Yeah, so that was Phumelele Ndumo's book, From Debt to Riches. And then my fifth and final book, which I also loved, is Manage Your Money Like an Effing Grown Up by Sam, what's her surname is a bit hard for me, Bexinger, Sam Bexinger. This book is Another Fighter. It's also a South African book. So the 3 are South African and then the other 2 are not South African. So I really like that. Yo, Sam, she's hilarious. She's also like a Nicolette, but yo, she uses not so clean language, as you can see this effing growing up. Yeah, and anyway, it was a bit of a for me, because as I said, I'm a serious girl. So for me it was a, okay, Sam, but you really learn a lot. So for me it was interesting. It was like a crash course on money. I more or less knew the things that she was talking about, but I like how they came together, like, because there's like different maps that she'll draw. She'll ask you, do you have an emergency fund? But before she says that, she's just, I don't know, let me see, where's the diagram? Like here it says, get your ish together, start tracking and analyzing your financial life. And then it says, spend less than you earn, decrease your spending ratio, don't be old and poor. And then it's just like a flow diagram, so you can kind of see, if you don't want to be old and poor, what should you be doing? If you want to decrease your spending, what should you be doing? If you want to spend less than you earn, what should you be doing? So I just like the flow diagrams. It makes it easier on the eye. It's not too much reading, so that makes it a little bit easier to read. I think I finished this book in like a week or 2, and I don't have much time to read with the kids, with work, side hustle. It's a lot, but this book, I flew through it because it was really that interesting and captivating for me. So the other book that I really haven't read but people speak highly of is Mapalo Maku's book, which is You're Not Broke, You Pre-Rich. So I already like the title, but I have not read the book. So that's another personal finance book that people speak quite highly of. So maybe you guys can also explore that if you're looking for personal finance books to read. And this is by a South African female, so definitely I would recommend that as well. So that is it from me when it comes to personal finance books. I hope these recommendations will really help you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.